Before every show, TV host Stephen Colbert has a ritual, and it's a little superstitious. First, he rings a little bell in his bathroom. Then, as he walks toward stage, he waits for one of his writers to tell him to squeeze out some sunshine. Then he does a two-handed handshake with his production assistant. He gets one Bic pen and one mint and stands off stage and slaps himself twice in the face. And he is clear on this. Quote, "I slapped myself in the face hard, twice, hard enough to regret it." Then he gets his one style of Bic pen, chews the cap off, and puts it back in the box. Lastly, he makes eye contact with his band leader before walking out onto stage. If it works for Colbert, might it work for you too? Well, not the slapping yourself part, but the psych yourself up routine, definitely. This might sound crazy, but the most successful people have professional warm-up routines. In this video, I'm going to share the science of how to get yourself psyched up. Professional athletes have warm-ups before every game and practice. So why don't professionals have warm-ups before meetings and pitches and negotiations? My name is Vanessa and I'm a human behavior hacker. I like to teach you science-based tips and tricks to help you be more successful. I think everyone should have a success warm-up routine. The science of psyched. Author of Psyched Up, Daniel McGinn, calls professional warm-ups pre-performance rituals. He argues that we all should create our own pre-performance rituals to have more day-to-day success. This is not only a way we can prep ourselves for better performance, but it's also a way to combat nerves. My goal is to help you find the sweet spot between excited and energetic before reaching anxious or stressed. This is called a stress curve. We perform at our best when we feel excited or aroused, but too much stress and we get exhausted or burnt out. A great pre-performance ritual gets you to the optimum level of excitement. Here are some ideas for setting up your ritual. Idea number 1, use imagery. Sometimes all we need is a little reminder of how it feels to be successful. Researcher Gary Latham wanted to know if those cheesy inspirational posters actually work. So he set up a study at a university call center where students call alumni to ask for donations. His research team gave 81 employees an info packet outlining the day's calls, but half of the packets contained an inspirational photo of a runner crossing the finish line. Could a silly photo of a runner help callers earn more money? The answer is yes. The results were unmistakable. Any caller who saw the photo raised more money than the students who had no photo at all. Now let's pause for a second. This is ridiculous. These students weren't even doing a physical activity like running, but somehow this photo helped them. Why? It reminded them of the feeling of pride. And workers who take pride in their work do better work. Action step. Think of the feeling you want to have and use imagery to remind you of it. This doesn't have to be cheesy posters, although it can be. You can also follow people who inspire you on Instagram or Twitter, or watch inspirational YouTube videos like this one. Idea number 2, remove triggers. What makes you nervous? Who makes you nervous? Daniel McGinn says there are 3 ways we can combat nerves. The first is called situational selection. This is when you're more selective with situations that cause you anxiety. For example, I don't do well in really loud networking events or conference room floors. So whenever I speak at big trade shows or conferences, I always ask to come in the back so I can prep and relax backstage first. Can you modify where you get ready? The second way is situation modification. Maybe you can't completely change the environment, but you can optimize it for less triggers. Maybe you work in a loud open office, so you can't exactly have a private room to prep before a meeting. You can get noise-canceling headphones or take a side conference room. How can you change your environment for less triggers? The last strategy, if you can't control anything about your environment, is called attentional deployment. This is when you distract yourself from the anxiety-provoking stimuli. This is when it's great to bring a partner or colleague to prep with you before a meeting, to have videos to watch or a great playlist you can listen to. Idea number 3, harness a little rivalry. Okay, I think this is the most controversial study in Daniel McGinn's research. He argues that a little competitive rivalry can rev your engine. Researcher Norman Triplett analyzed data from over 2,000 bicycle races. He found that when cyclists ride next to a competitor, they were on average 34.4 seconds faster than riders who competed alone. This makes sense. If you can see your competitor riding ahead of you, you can aim to match their speed. If you feel a competitor on your flank, you push to go a little faster. Does this work in business? I think yes, with a healthy dose of competition. This is why sales leaderboards with friendly competition in office can be motivating, or looking at your stats and sales compared to other companies or departments can spur you to work just a little bit harder. So, if you need a little extra juice in your pre-performance routine, you can take a glance at your competitors. Idea number 4, power nostalgia. One of our most powerful tools for motivation is free. It's using the power of our memories. Memories are free and never-ending. Columbia professor Adam Galinsky did a study where he asked a group of interviewees to write about a time they felt powerful or powerless for a few minutes before taking part in a mock interview. The results were clear. Those who wrote about feeling powerful felt more calm during their interview and were rated better by their interviewers. One of the best things you can do is use powerful nostalgia to pump yourself up. Think about a time you were successful, powerful, and felt great. This can help you bring your previous feelings into your current situation. You could even read great emails from previous bosses, clients, or students to remind you of the great work you can do. Idea number 5, anxious is good. Do you think stress is bad? Nerves are bad? Alison Woodbrooks has done research to show that your perspective on nerves matters more than the actual nerves. In fact, feeling nervous and feeling excited are very similar emotions. This kind of reframe is called reprisal. Researcher Jeremy Jameson did a study in 2010 with GRE students. Before a practice exam, Jameson had half of his students read a statement to help them reframe their nervousness. Here was the statement. People think that feeling anxious while taking a standardized test will make them do poorly on the test. However, recent research suggests that arousal doesn't hurt performance on these tests and can even help performance. This means that you shouldn't feel concerned if you do feel anxious while taking today's GRE test. If you find yourself feeling anxious, simply remind yourself that your arousal could be helping you do well. The other students read nothing and just had to take the test. After reading that one statement, the excited students scored 55 points higher on their practice exam. Here's where it gets even better. This effect stuck around for the real GRE test over a month later. Students who had read the excited statement scored 65 points higher than the other group. In other words, when you feel nervous, reframe it. Tell yourself that nerves are a form of excitement, and excitement helps you perform better. Idea number 6, no defensive pessimism. Let me tell you what you shouldn't do. Sometimes when we're trying to encourage ourselves, we think about worst case scenarios. We say, worst comes to worst, or we think about what could happen if we don't perform well. This is called defensive pessimism, and it doesn't work. This might seem like it will help your nerves, but it actually primes you for worse performance and dampens that good, excited energy. If power nostalgia helps you think about positive outcomes, defensive pessimism makes you think about negative ones. So whatever you do, don't think about the worst case. Think of the best case. You can do it. Bonus idea. Create a performance playlist. The last idea is one you might already do, but need to hype up a little more. Music. Oh yes, music is a great motivator. In fact, I created an entire video on how to make your performance playlist. Check that out next right here. So think about these ideas and pick your favorites. You can even watch this video before your next big thing. We're here for you, rooting you on. Do you like this video? Amazing coincidence, because we like you too. Would you mind giving us some like love by liking this video? Thank you, thank you, thank you.